Lesson 5, Chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. Students, in today's class, my topic of discussion will be properties of genetic material, that is the DNA. Let me remind you that while discussing about the evidences of DNA to be a genetic material, there were still some scientists who were of the view that proteins can be the genetic material and they carry the codes or the characters from one generation into the other. But after the experiment which was done by Harche and Chase, they were able to prove that DNA is a genetic material. And some scientists were also of the view that RNA could be the genetic material. And it was found later that some of the viruses, which are the intermediate forms between the living and the non-living world, so they have the RNA as the genetic material, such as the tobacco mosaic virus, bacteriophages. So they have the RNA as the genetic material. Therefore, in this video, let's discuss about the properties of this genetic material, of that of DNA or the RNA. And in that way, we can find the differences, the chemical differences between the DNA and the RNA. So the properties now. The first property of a genetic material should be that it should be able to replicate or form its carbon copy. There in the book, the sentence it is given as it should be able to generate its replica. That means that it should be able to form its carbon copy so that it is transmitted in the same way from one generation into the other. So that is the first property. The mechanism of replication that I am going to discuss in the upcoming videos. Now let's come to the second point, that it should be stable chemically and structurally. Now the genetic material, as you know, that they are made up of some molecular structures. As in case of the DNA, as you have found that they are made up of nucleotides, and these nucleotides, they are arranged in one form. So this molecule, they must be stable and they shouldn't change its structure or its form. Therefore, it is said that it should be stable chemically and structurally. Now the third point. As I have said, that it should be stable chemically and structurally. So the third property, it is that the hereditary information must be present in the coded form in the structure of DNA and its gene. As it is made up of nucleotides and they have a rule of base pairing or the complementary base pairs that is formed in between the nucleotides. As for example, A, that is adenine, it always pairs with T, thymine. C, cytosine, it always pairs with G, guanine. So they must be in the coded form, and here the codes will be the base pairing in between these nucleotides, and in simple form we name it by the names of the nitrogen bases only. So therefore, in the third point, it is said that the hereditary information, as this information that is present in the DNA, so in the DNA or in the RNA, it should be present in a coded form. Here the codes, let me repeat it again, here the codes, it will be the nitrogen bases in the structure of the DNA and its genes. Then comes the fourth point, that it should provide the scope for slow changes, that is mutation, that are required for evolution. So you have already studied about mutation in the last chapter, that is principles of inheritance. And in mutation, there you have studied that mutation, it can take place in different ways. And one of the mutation type, it was gene mutation, where the mutation, it takes place in the structure of the genes or in the DNA material. So the DNA material or the genetic material, it should have the scope for such kind of slow changes, and those slow changes that will help in the process of evolution. So evolution, you have discussed that, I have discussed about that chapter also, that evolution, that our nature, it always wants changes, and because of those changes that takes place due to various regions, and one of the region, it was mutation. So this mutation, they brings variations in our nature. So DNA material or the genetic material, it should have such scopes for such kind of mutations that will help in the whole process of evolution. Then comes the fifth point, that it should be able to express itself in the form of Mendelian characters. And yes, that is the another important property, that it should be able to express itself in the form of the Mendelian characters. Here the Mendelian characters, it means that those alleles that Mendel have mentioned, as there was a dominant allele and a recessive allele, dominant and a recessive. So generally the dominant gene that always suppresses the recessive one, or the one which could not express itself, or when the dominant and the dominant that is present together, so that they expresses together. When the recessive gene with another recessive gene, they comes together, so they gives us the recessive character or the suppressed character. So in that way, the DNA material, so that should have the capability to express itself in the form of the Mendelian characters. And the sixth point is that it must be ubiquitous in their distribution. So they must have such a kind of ubiquity in its distribution, and that is seen in case of most of the organisms. This ubiquitous nature, that is seen in case of many organisms, where they are found in the same form, but they are not the same. The meaning of ubiquitous, that means that it is found to be appearing everywhere, or the one which is omnipresent. Say for example, the DNA material for us here in India, though that would be same in the Western countries also. Say for the expression of eyes, so that will be same, but their expressions might be different. So that is what ubiquity means. It is found everywhere. Say for human beings, it will be all same all over the world, but they will have certain changes in their expression. So that is what it means in the last property of the genetic material, which we now know that DNA have all such properties, and therefore it was later considered that DNA as the genetic material. Now let's come to some of the properties of the RNA, that why RNA later it was not considered to be the genetic material. So it was because that the RNA, as you know, that RNA, that is a single stranded structure, and as it is a single stranded structure, so therefore the RNA structure, they are generally reactive in nature, and that makes the RNA labile. That means it can break down or it can be easily degradable. And if the DNA material, it gets degraded and it could not make its form stronger, or do not show or they have such kind of labile nature, so in that case the RNA could never be the genetic material. But the DNA material that is chemically less reactive and structurally more stable than that of the RNA. So therefore, the DNA is found to be better genetic material than the RNA. But the RNA, that they also have the catalytic nature. So that is also another property of the RNA that do not allow the RNA to be the genetic material. Otherwise, the DNA and the RNA, they both have some characters, such as the DNA and the RNA both are able to mutate, or they can show the changes in their chemical nature every now and then, but they are different in some of the natures. And another important point that I want to mention here is that the RNA that actually form from the DNA. So, and this RNA, they only have the structural changes, and that leads to the formation of protein. So there also it is proved that the RNA, it could never be the genetic material. So in that way, let's come to the differences now in between the DNA and the RNA material chemically. Let's finish this video with the summary of what you have learned today. That is the difference between the RNA and the DNA. So the basic difference that you already know, that the DNA, it produces sugar in the form of deoxyribose, and the RNA produces sugar as the ribose, as it is part of the nucleotide. You know what are nucleotides? That is the sugar, phosphoric acid and the nitrogen bases. Together, that is the nucleotide. And in the nucleotide, there is the pentose sugar. Here in case of DNA, therefore the sugar moiety, that is the pentose sugar, which is called as deoxyribose, and in the RNA, that is the ribose, which is also a pentose sugar. And the basis of these sugars, that their names are also given as deoxynucleic acid, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Then comes the second point, that is the bases present in the DNA are adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine. So in case of the DNA, uracil is absent, and in case of the RNA, here the nitrogen bases will be adenine, uracil, guanine and cytosine. So here thymine is absent, but it can be rarely present, only in some special cases. Then the structure of the DNA, that is the double helical structure. So here therefore it is written as double stranded structure, where it forms the base pairing. And in case of the RNA, that is a single stranded structure. So that is only a single strand. Then comes the DNA, it obeys Chargaff's rule. Now what was Chargaff's rule? So that is that the content of the purines and pyrimidines, so that is always a constant, or that is the same. That is A, it always pairs with T, and C, it always pairs with G. So that is the Chargaff's rule. And the RNA, it doesn't produce any such rules. So it doesn't obey Chargaff's rule. Then comes here, in case of DNA, the bases are not modified. As I have said, that they must be in the coded form, and the structure of the DNA, it shouldn't change, and they should be a stable structure. So here the bases, it do not get modified, and if it gets modified, then we termed it as mutation. Then in case of RNA, the bases, they gets modified, so they changes its nature. Then comes the sixth point. So it is stable and not hydrolyzed easily by alkalis. So the chemical structure of DNA, it is very much stable and it is less reactive, whereas the RNA, it is unstable and hydrolyzed easily by alkali metals. Then comes the seventh point, that is the DNA content is constant in all the cells except during the cell division. That is because that during the cell division process, the crossing over, it takes place, that you have already known it while discussing the chapter principles of inheritance. So in that point, that we have the variation. So the DNA constant, it is constant, but only it changes during the cell division process. But in case of the RNA, it varies from cell to cell. Then comes the lifetime of DNA, that is comparatively higher than that of the RNA. And the RNA, it is very much short-lived because they are formed from the DNA, and later they also forms the proteins. So that is short-lived. Then the ninth point is that no natural DNA is catalytic. That means the DNA, they do not possess any enzymatic nature, and therefore they are not catalytic. And in case of RNA, they can be catalytic in nature. That means RNA that can also function as enzymes also. Then comes the last point, that is where do we find DNA. So DNA, it is present in the nucleus. So it is the main component there in the nucleus. But apart from the nucleus, the DNA that is also present in mitochondria and chloroplast. And in case of RNA, it is present in the nucleus in the form of mRNA. It is also found in mitochondria, nucleolus, ribosomes, and cytosol, that is the cytoplasm. So this is all about the differences between the DNA and the RNA with respect to their properties, that which one is suitable to become the genetic material. And by studying all these properties, so later it was reported that the DNA, they have more properties that convince us to believe that the DNA, it is the genetic material. So that's all for today's class. Thank you.